Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the single degree freedom system having a force vibration. What is meant by force vibration? If the system vibrates under the influence of external periodic force, the vibration occurring into the system due to that external periodic force is known as the force vibration. And we are having many examples of the force vibration. First one, we can say consider the IC engine. In IC engine, center of gravity or center of mass does not lies with the axis of rotation. So there is eccentricity, and that eccentricity causes the unbalanced force, or we can say that causes the unbalanced centrifugal force, unbalanced dynamic force, which gives you the continuous harmonic excitation force, and that force continuously gives you the force vibration. Today we are discussing the derivation of force damped vibration with constant harmonic excitation. In this derivation, we will consider the damped vibration, means the spring, mass and damped system with the presence of harmonic force, means the force having the sinusoidal wave. Many mechanical components or mechanical machine tools like as a compressor, IC engine, turbine, pumps are the examples of force vibration. And due to the force vibration, what happened? In some cases, the resonance may occur. What is resonance? Already discussed with you. When the frequency of external excitation force coincide with the natural frequency of the system, it leads to resonance, means the system starting dangerously vibrating with the large amplitude vibrates at its own is known as the resonance. And how to avoid that resonance? We must consider the operational speed, which is far more than or lesser than the natural frequency of the corresponding machine. In next slide, we will discuss the equilibrium position, displaced position and free body diagram of the considered mass. Now in this slide, we will consider spring mass damper system with the simple harmonic force as an excitation force. We will consider the system having spring, mass and damper, which is excited by the simple harmonic force Fo sin omega t. Now in this diagram we can see the external harmonic force Fo sin omega t, which is acting downward. Due to that force, due to external excitation force, the mass gets displayed from its mean position downward, and that causes the new position, means we can say x position after the time t, x position after the time t, and Fo is the magnitude of external exciting harmonic force, and omega is a circular frequency of external exciting force in radians per second. Firstly, we applied Fo sin omega t, which causes the displacement, downward displacement as x after time period t. Then, then we have to identify its free body diagram. And as the spring get extended, means spring will give you the we can say spring force, restoring force. As spring is get extended, so restoring force will act upward. Similarly, the damping force which will be caused by the damper will act upward, and the Fo sin omega t will be act downward. At the same time, here in this diagram we can see the spring force Kx and the damping force which is acting upward as a Cx dot. Then we know as the mass is moving downward, motion is downward, means the inertia force, mass into acceleration, will act opposite to it, means it will act, the inertia force will act upward, and value of that one, mass into acceleration, mass is m, which is considered by us, and x double dot is acceleration. I hope everybody got the free body diagram where kx, cx dot and mx double dot acting upward, and the external exciting force Fo sin omega t acting downward, while motion is considered as a downward. Now, how to find differential equation of motion for force damped vibration? For that one, the FAD already drawn by us. Now we will apply the D'Alembert principle. So what is D'Alembert principle? D'Alembert principle says that the summation of inertia forces plus external excitation forces is equal to 0. Summation of inertia forces and the external force is equal to 0. Now, what forces are present here? First one is the inertia force, which was upward, so it is considered as a positive. So m x double dot considered as a positive. Again, the damping force Cx dot was upward force, so it considered as a positive, plus the spring force, which is upward force, considered as a positive Kx, and the external excitation force Fo sin omega t acting downward, so it considered as a negative. So we can say the differential equation of motion for damped vibration as mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx is equal to Fo sin omega t. Now, such kind of differential equation you might be remembered in a M3, and the complete solution towards the linear second order differential equation is, we know that there are two functions, one is a complementary function and particular function, means we can say the complete solution to the linear second order differential equation is x is equal to xc plus xp, where xc is a complementary function and xp is a particular integral, and xc can be determined by considering the left hand side equal to 0. Left hand side is equal to 0. How to find the xc and xp, means complementary function and particular integral we will discuss in next slide. The complementary function xc can be determined by considering left hand side is equal to 0. Means the first part, the complementary function can be obtained by considering no force condition. Means what? mx double dot plus cx plus kx is equal to 0. And we remember that this equation is same as a damped free vibration system equation. Damped free vibration system equation. And we already calculated or we already derived its solution. So what was its solution? The solution xc is equal to x1 e raised to minus zeta omega n into t, then into sine omega d t plus phi 1, where zeta was a damping ratio or damping factor, means C upon Cc. Then omega d, natural circular frequency of damped free vibration in radians per second. T is the time in second. x1 and phi 1 are the constant, and that has to be determined from the initial conditions. Again, we know omega d is equal to the square root of 1 minus zeta square, the square root complete, into omega n. So we can put that omega d value here and we will get the xc is equal to x1 e raised to minus zeta omega n t into sine square root of 1 minus zeta square root complete, omega n into t plus phi 1, and this is known as the complementary function of x in meter. Now particular integral xp. The second part of the x is known as xp, and that can be determined by two methods. First one is the analytical method and second one is a graphical method. In this lecture we will discuss the analytical method. Differential equation method, we can say it's again known as a differential equation method. For particular integral we have to consider the xp equal to x, capital X, into sine omega t minus phi, where the x, capital X, is known as the amplitude of steady state vibration of the system. Amplitude of steady state vibration of the system in meter, and the phi is the phase angle or the phase difference. Means what? It is the angle by which the displacement vector x lags to the force vector FO. So what is the angle between the vector of the displacement x and vector of external excitation force FO? That is known as the phase difference or phase angle, and it is considered as a phi. We already considered the displacement xp. So velocity has to determine. So what is meant by velocity? Means x dot p. So we have to take derivative. So dx xp upon dt is equal to d upon dt bracket x sin omega t minus phi and then bracket complete. Means we can say the xp dot is equal to omega. Here we can consider omega x cos bracket omega t minus phi bracket complete. We know the relation between cos and sin, so xp dot is equal to the omega x sin omega t minus phi plus pi by 2 plus pi by 2. So xp is determined by us. After velocity, we will calculate the acceleration. Means xp double dot. So how to calculate xp double dot? Take the derivative of xp dot. So according to above equation, we can say the xp double dot is equal to minus omega square x sin omega t minus phi. And to accumulate this negative sign, we can add the phi angle into the sine term. So xp double dot is equal to omega square x sin bracket omega t minus phi plus pi bracket complete. I hope everybody understand xp double dot. Now after this we will put all value of xp, xp dot, xp double dot in the equation of motion. So we will get m omega square x sin bracket omega t minus phi plus pi bracket complete plus c omega into x sin bracket omega t minus phi plus pi by 2 bracket complete plus k xp. So k x sin omega t minus phi, which is equal to fo sin omega t. So what we just put the xp double dot value, x dot value and x value, what maybe we consider for the xp, that into the differential equation of motion. Then we will go for its simplification and we will determine its solution. Now we will simplify the given, and after simplification we understand that we will get the minus m omega square x sin bracket omega t minus phi bracket complete plus c omega x cos bracket omega t minus phi bracket complete plus kx sin omega t minus phi bracket complete equal to fo sin omega t. After this we will take the sin omega t in minus phi terms, these two terms, and x, these are the common. So we can consider this k minus m omega square bracket complete x and sin omega t minus phi is can be considered as sin omega t dot or into cos phi minus cos omega t into sin phi bracket complete plus this C omega x cos, means again we have to consider cos omega t into cos phi plus sin omega t into sin phi equal to FO sin omega t. Then we can simplify this equation like this. The bracket, again inside the bracket, k minus m omega square bracket complete x cos plus c omega x sin phi bracket complete sin omega t. Here this sin omega t and this sin omega t terms considered as a common. Then plus again bracket c omega x cos phi minus bracket the k minus m omega square bracket complete x sin phi the square bracket complete cos omega t equal to FO sin omega t. Now look to the LHS and RHS. Here we can see the sin omega term present here as well as here. So we can consider the sin omega t coefficient as same and the cos omega t coefficient as same. Means what? By comparing this, the coefficient of sin omega t and cos omega t of LHS and RHS, we can write the k minus m omega square bracket complete x cos phi plus c omega x sin phi equal to the FO. So the sin omega t and sin omega t coefficients are considered as equal. As cos omega t coefficient is not present, means it's a 0. So we can say like this, the c omega x cos phi minus bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete x sin phi equal to 0. So what we done, we just simplified or we just compared the coefficient of sin omega t and cos omega t of either side. Then we got these two equations. We will utilize these two equations to determine the phase angle as well as the amplitude of vibration. Now how to determine phase angle? So for that one we will consider the c omega x cos phi minus the bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete x sin omega sin phi is equal to 0. Now we can simplify this equation by considering the c omega x cos phi equal to bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete x sin phi. Now again for finding the phase angle phi, we have to rearrange this term in terms of tan. Tan means what? Sin phi minus sin phi upon cos phi. So we are rearranging this one. Sin phi upon cos phi is equal to c omega x divided by the k minus m omega square bracket complete x. X can be cancelled. So tan of phi can be written as tan of phi equal to c omega divided by k minus m omega square. Again, we have to introduce the term known as a zeta. So, to deter, and again we can introduce the term known as omega n. So, how to introduce the omega n and zeta here? For that one, what we will do, we will divide and multiply the equation, the right hand side equation, by k. Okay, so tan inverse is determined, and then what we done, we divided the k into the denominator and numerator. Then we can say here the corresponding phase angle phi means from this tan inverse, what we will get, we are getting this triangle where the k minus m omega square and the c omega are in right angle because tan is indicated, and we can determine by using Pythagoras theorem, we can determine the hypotenuse. I hope everybody got this triangle. If not, please comment, and we will discuss this thing in a lecture again, if not followed by you. Then we will move to the introduction of omega n and zeta in this one. In next slide we will discuss that. For that one, what we have to do, we have to determine the value of c omega divided by k, and we have to determine the value of m omega square divided by k. In next slide we will determine the values. So we will determine the value of m omega square divided by k. Just rearrange the term, we will get the is equal to omega square divided by k by m. We know that the square root of k by m is the natural frequency of undamped free vibration. So omega n square is introduced. So we can say the m omega square divided by k is equal to omega upon omega n bracket square. So first term is determined and omega n is introduced. Now next term we can consider as a c omega divided by k. So what we will do, we will divide and multiply by Cc. Cc means critical damping coefficient, which is equal to the 2 zeta into the square root of k by m. So the term can be written is equal to 2 zeta into the square root of k by m into omega divided by k. Again we can rearrange the thing, and from that one we can consider 2 zeta omega divided by square root of k by m. We know that the square root of k by m is omega n. So c omega divided by k is equal to 2 zeta omega upon omega n. So we can again write the tan means we can write the phi angle. Phi is equal to tan inverse of 2 zeta omega upon omega n divided by 1 minus omega upon omega n bracket square. So I hope everybody got this phi angle, and it is very useful in various numericals. So you must note this point, the phi is equal to tan inverse of bracket 2 zeta omega upon omega n divided by 1 minus bracket omega upon omega n bracket square and bracket complete for the tan inverse. I hope everybody got this phase angle derivation. Then we will go for the determination of amplitude of vibration, means capital X. How to determine amplitude of vibration? For that one, we will consider the equation bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete cos plus c omega cos of phi plus c omega sin of phi by entire bracket complete into x is equal to F0. Now again we will rearrange the term so that we can determine x. X is equal to F0 divided by and the bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete cos phi plus c omega sin phi. After this we will remember this triangle, and from that one we will determine the cos of phi and sin of phi. So cos of phi and sin of phi can be written like this. Sin phi is equal to, so sin of this phi angle is equal to, the sin means c omega divided by hypotenuse, the square root of the bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete square plus c omega bracket square. And similarly we can determine the cos also. The cos phi is equal to the k minus m omega square divided by the square root of the bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete square c omega bracket square. Now what we will do, we will put this sin value and cos value into this particular x equation. In next slide we will discuss this. Put the value of sin and cos phi values into the equation, then we will get the x is equal to F0 and divided by the k minus m omega square into similar term as a k minus m omega square divided by square root of bracket square, and similarly for that cw into c omega into c omega divided by the bracket square root of bracket square. Then we can write this again F0 divided by the k m omega square, then bracket square plus c omega square bracket square divided by square root of the same term. So we can write this equation again. F0 into square root of bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete square plus c omega bracket square divided by k plus m omega square and the bracket square plus c omega bracket square. Now we can again write the x is equal to F0 divided by the square root of bracket k minus m omega square bracket complete and square of the bracket plus the bracket c omega brackets complete and the square of the bracket. Now amplitude of vibration x is determined by us. We will utilize this x and phi for the determination of complete solution. In next slide, we will again introduce the zeta and omega n terms into the we can say the denominator. So how to do that? Again the similar process as we divided and multiplied by k, and then we determine the things. So we will follow the same step for the introduction of omega n and the zeta in the lower bracket. Now x is equal to, we just divided by k to the denominator and denominator. For that one, the x is equal to fo divided by k, square root of 1 minus m omega square divided by k, then bracket complete square, plus c omega k and then square of that bracket, as we seen here. Now we will write as we already determined the m omega square divided by k is equal to omega upon omega n bracket square. Similarly, the c omega upon k is omega upon omega n. It is determined by us. So x can be written like this: x is equal to fo divided by k, square root of the bracket 1 minus again bracket omega upon omega n bracket complete square, and then whole bracket complete square, plus 2 zeta omega upon omega n, the bracket complete for this 2 zeta omega upon omega n. Now we can say the fo upon k is deflection due to the force fo. Fo upon k is the deflection due to the force fo, means that is xst. We can consider the fo upon k as xst, and that is static. You can say the zero frequency deflection or static deflection. So x upon x is equal to xst square root of bracket 1 minus omega upon omega n square, that square root of square of the entire bracket, plus 2 zeta omega upon omega n and the square of that 2 zeta omega upon omega n. So we got the we assume xp is equal to x sine omega t minus phi. So for that one, we now here we already determine the x and phi. So we can write the xp is equal to fo sine omega t minus phi divided by k, square root of 1 minus omega upon omega n square and bracket square again, plus 2 zeta omega upon omega n brackets bracket square. So, and we know the phi is equal to, already phi is calculated by us. As we already calculated the xp, so we can write the complete solution. So complete solution for differential equation is a combination of xp and xc. xc indicated by the sinusoidal wave which was completely decreasing, means it is exponential decrement was there. So that part, first part, is considered as a transient vibration, and the second part, which is xp determined by us, that is known as a steady state vibration. Steady state vibration. So two parts of complete solution. First one is a transient vibration and second one is a steady state vibration. The first part of the complete solution means complementary function is seen to decay with the time and vanishes later on. Means, as you can see here, it is exponential decrement and it will vanish after some time. So it is considered, and this portion is considered as a transient vibration. The transient vibration takes place at the damped frequency, and that frequency of the system, damped frequency omega d, is already considered by us. So xc indicates this graph where rather than graph, it's a transient vibration indicated, and it's seen to be decay with the time. Exponential decay is occurring. Now second portion is known as, the second part is known as the particular integral, and that is seen to be a sinusoidal wave. That is seen to be a sinusoidal wave with a constant amplitude and is called as steady state vibration, as xp is equal to fo sine omega t minus phi divided by k, the square root of 1 minus omega n, omega upon omega n bracket square of the bracket, then plus 2 omega upon omega n square of the 2 of that bracket. So that indicates, the value indicates the fo into sine omega t minus phi, means the amplitude remains same. xp indicates the amplitude remains same for the sinusoidal wave, constant amplitude is present. So the complete solution can be obtained by superpositioning of the transient and steady state vibration. So how to do the superpositioning? By combining this one, we will get the complete solution like this. The complete solution like this. After the transient vibration die out, the complete solution consists of steady state vibration only. First one we are getting, after this transient vibration die out, means once this is vanished, it will follow the transient steady state vibration only. The two constant x1 and phi1 can be determined. Okay, so very important thing here, the transient vibration indicates the exponential decay, along with the steady state vibration indicates the clear cut indication of the constant amplitude with sinusoidal wave, and the complete solution of differential equation indicates by the superpositioning of this transient and steady state vibration, and that indicate the transient, once the transient vibration die out, the complete solution consists of steady state vibration only, means only xp is present. Okay, so from my end the lecture is over. I hope everybody understand this concept of complete solution of the differential equation for single degree freedom system force vibration with the simple harmonic motion force vibration. Thank you everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.